Okay everyone, it's November 14th, 2025. The rain is kind of picking up, which is not that good, and also because it's also thundering, so we're hoping it's not a rainstorm. But yeah, it's picking up here very slowly. But it's cold. Really, yeah, it is kind of picking up. Yeah. Now what was that?
Okay, people, this is the second video to the video that I just put up because this file here is somewhat corrupted, and it kicked out and then it just froze and it rendered, but you didn't hear the video. So I'm going to see if I can play it this way because I've already deleted it from the camera. But before we do that, I just want you to hear this and I want you to think about it, okay? Because since this dude basically attacked me. Basically attacked me. Tried to run me out of there in terms of not to record. Okay? To document, I suppose. Not that I was purposely going out of my way to document anything outside of maybe something for my landlords if they needed it for themselves, being that this could be city related in terms of what was going on here. But, you know, Mrs. Gill got the phone call on the 12th, towards, you know, like in the afternoon, that there was a problem, a serious problem at that. And she said, yeah, maybe today they'll come or tomorrow. Well, they didn't come that day. They came, you know, yesterday, which is the 13th. Oh, no, today's the 15th. It was the 14th. Okay, so on the 13th was the problem. On the 14th, they came up, but they were supposed to be there at 10:30. Now, keep in mind, this is an emergency. This is water coming up from the bottom of a toilet at the seal. And it's sewage water yet, if it's not coming up through the toilet itself. Plus, I guess it was coming up through the bathtub. All right, because I heard it was. Somebody mentioned it was. And when I was down there, no, one of the men mentioned it too. And when I was down there, they kept looking into the bathtub to see if it was coming up still, right? So it was bad, right? So basically, my landlord was informed on the 12th in the afternoon that there was a serious problem, right? She said they might come today, tonight, or whatever, or if not, in the morning. They booked an appointment with, I guess, somebody downstairs to be here at 10:30 in the morning on the 13th. But they showed up late, so we'll put it at 11:15, maybe as late as 11:30, I don't know. But by the time I got down there, which was soon after, because I wanted to know what the hell was going on, because, you know, right? And there was basically just two guys down there. The one guy that I know that's done other work on the property throughout the years, and, you know, his apprentice or whatever, well, the apprentice was soaking up sewage water, right? And squeezing the rag into a huge Rubbermaid bin, and then at some point he tried to get this, it's like a pond pump, to work to pump out that water that was in that bin outside the window. And when I asked Andre where did they put the hose, he said they just basically hanged it over the window. Outside the window. They didn't take it like a long hose and have it run so that it could, go at the far end of the yard. They just let it go outside the window, which I will show you tomorrow, okay? All right. And so, I talked to him and see what was going on, what he knew, and blah, 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 blah. And he said, well, they're going to come with a snake. So he was waiting for the snake as he was sopping up this water and pumping it out every 10, 15 minutes through the pump as it was rising, right? And then eventually the guy with the snake came, so Andre, that was downstairs by that time. And then I came downstairs and Andre went up and there was the guy snaking it, but the machine was very small. It was just a small little teeny weeny machine with a very small, whatever they, right, wire, okay? Okay, and I guess it wasn't effective enough. So that went on for a couple of hours or whatever it was, because I didn't stay down there the whole time, right? And then, Andre would go back down and he'd sit in the living room or whatever, and then I'd go back down, right? And then I'd, see what was going on, try to, and this one dude, he had to clean all the mess. That's all he did for 10 hours, was sop up sewage water, while everybody else was running around doing this and doing that. Okay, so time goes by, right? And then, I don't know, my son leaves. I wasn't there when that happened, because I was upstairs and whatever, and I'm leaving. And I said, well, who's downstairs? I can't just leave everybody downstairs. Now, keep in mind, I've had this shit happen to me before when the mainline pipe was broken by some of these same individuals, but I was cutting them slack like the good old days, right? And right? But at that time, somebody had went into Auntie Chemay's room and they walked off with a full bin of freaking fabric. Okay? A full bin. It was a big bin. It disappeared. All right, whatever. It happens. People thieve. Can't prove anything. I let it slide. What else could I do? It was gone. And so anyway, I said to my son, well, are you sure you want these people, because we don't know who they all are, right? Because by this time you're getting into your 3s and 4s, because it's getting like after 5 o'clock, right? So they're getting off of work. So they're coming in after work. That's what's happening, right? And then, right? And he goes, yeah, well, I had to go out. And I'm like, okay, well, between Andre and I'll just, whatever, right? So I kind of had to be down there. I couldn't have Andre just sit on a couch for 2 hours and not making inquiries or whatever. Well, I'm sitting up here with no water of absolutely any kind. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what the hell is going on. I just hear it's flooding. It's sewage water. It's blah, blah, blah. And when I went down there, it reeked. So, of course, I'm going to follow up on it. Okay, people? So, all right. So my son leaves, I guess, around 5:30. So by that time, they're waiting for another guy to come with a scope. Now they're going to scope it out. So they got there at around 11:15 or 11:30, and around that time. And then by 5:30, they decided they're going to finally scope it. They just have to wait for the guy to come with the scope. But they also come with a bigger machine, a bigger snake, a more heavy-duty one, where the thickness of the wire is two times larger than the first machine that they came with. All right. So they do that. I see all that. I'm not recording. Nothing. Right? And then more guys come. So now I've got like 5 or 6 guys, right, walking up and down the hall, coming in and out, just whatever they feel like it. And then they're standing there and they're all looking at the hole and thinking, right? Thinking. So, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying not to get bent out of fucking shape here. I've got my son telling me now that he wants to move out because he doesn't want to live there over the winter with the heat on, with this god-awful sewage mold growing in who knows where, whether it's in the carpets, in the walls, under the floorboards, outside the bathroom window, on the ground, outside the bath, because there was a lot of water, people, okay? This shit was cruddy. All right, so now they're doing the big snake, right? And going on and 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 on. Eventually they narrow it down to where the problem seems to be where the city is working in around that area up by the small pond, right? That's what they figure. That's how the city got involved. Because they're the ones that are going to have to dig up something to fix whatever it is that's causing this problem, based on what was determined after 6:30 going on 7. But that wasn't determined until they came in with the big snake. Like, there's 2 different types of snakes, right? There's a little teeny weeny one, and then there's a bigger one that has more power with a larger wire for, I guess, more difficult jobs. And the thing was getting stuck in there and shit, right? So anyway, and that was after 6:30. So that these guys are coming off of work with their equipment. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Is that why he didn't want me to record? First of all, nobody would have known the freaking time. Like, because in this video, he says, you can't record it. If you don't stop, I'm gonna... okay, what did he say? This was the first video, or the second video, and they were short little videos just to show what's happening, people. Right? But I'm trying to acknowledge, I guess you could say, the hard workers. That young man that was squeezing the freaking my towel, which ended up black by the time he was done with it. It was a white towel when it all started, because I had to give my son a whole bunch of towels for this crap, right? Which we can't wash because we have no wash machine. Anyway, he was the only one that was really mopping up this crap. And he did it from the time he got there, whenever he got there, right up until the time they freaking left. While everybody else was running around doing this, doing that, with 1 or 2 guys just running the machine, depending on where the machine came from. And this dude that showed up last, right, just took over, started barking at me, making threats on me, which you can hear in this video. Listen.
The water is coming up.
I just want to explain what the situation was happening. Because he told me I couldn't record. And I said, yes, I can. This is my house. I pay rent. That's why he called Mrs. Gill. Because he didn't want me to record this. Why? Why wouldn't you want me to record this? Unless, of course, you don't want me to sit there and think about the timeline and ask you why you didn't bring the big machine the day when we first called you, instead of coming in at 11 o'clock or 11:30 on 13th under an emergency. Why didn't you come on freaking November 12th at 4 o'clock when my son phoned for an emergency? And when you came, you should have came with the scope. You should have came, being that you're plumbers, right? Professionals, you should have came with the big snake versus just moseying the next day at your leisure and then drag it out 11, so 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For 7.5 hours, people, they dragged it out until the big machine came, the big snake and the scope. It doesn't take 7.5 hours to do that, but it did with them, right? And like, I didn't record anything until this last little bit. It just dawned on me, wait, no, just catch it. You know, it's just one of those things going on in your life. It's nasty, you know, right? And I feel sorry for the guy that's mopping up this crap. You know what I'm saying? I believe that they were putting 150% effort into solving this problem as so-called professional plumbers, to which, you know, I don't know. Let's listen.
No. You don't need to talk.
The reason I told him you don't need to talk is he said he didn't want to talk on the camera. Exactly. You don't need to talk. I don't need you to explain what is being done there unless you wanted to explain it. So I took it upon myself to explain what I've been told over the course of 7 hours in regards to what was happening. Because I had to prepare myself mentally for it. In terms of no water in the house, yada-de-yada-de-ya, Let's listen.
The water is coming up. The water is coming up on its own.
Okay, listen.
You don't stop, I'm gonna...
If you don't stop, I am going to... Let's do this again. Something going on. I need to reformat. Well, not reformat.
The water is coming up.
No.
You don't need to talk. The water is coming up. The water is coming up on its own.
You don't stop, I'm gonna leave it like that.
If you don't stop, I am going to leave it like that. So this dude shows up at around 7 o'clock out of nowhere after a day and a half of crises. Well, my landlady on the phone is saying it's not that bad when I'm saying yes it is. Okay? Right? Calling me the troublemaker. Okay. Because I want to, take a couple of little videos, not even thinking about whatever they were thinking, because clearly we were thinking two different things here. But this guy shows up at the last fucking minute, boo-boo minute, telling me that if I don't stop talking or recording, he was going to walk away with those guys and leave it like that. If that's not a threat, I don't know what is. Right? And how long were those clips? A minute? 2 minutes? Right? And it's not like I don't know some of those dudes from past years with them coming and doing this and doing that, because they're jacks of all trades. And they all seem to be apprentice to each and every trade. To one degree or another. But the main, you had the first group, 2 guys showed up, then another one came eventually, and then another couple of more, and then another one. And I'm sure there was another one going in and out, in and out. Well, my son and his wife wasn't home. Right. And I'm not going to be downstairs. Okay. Right? To see what the hell's going on. Being that nobody can figure it out. Right. Okay. And he's telling me I can't record. Why? What are you hiding if that's the case? Because it's too convenient that it's my house that's flooding, but not my neighbor's houses. That's very interesting. Yeah, I would think so. And to drag it out for over 24 hours, to have that running for over 24 hours, and it was the call came in as an emergency, and it's like they dragged it out for those extra 8 hours just so they could walk away and leave my son sitting down there watching some stupid pump and unplugging it every 10-15 minutes, hoping that the rains don't get heavy, because if it does, that dude, he laughing, blah blah blah, that we were gonna sleep in fucking sewage, okay, thinking it was a joke. I said, excuse me, what did you say? Of course I wasn't recording for that, because I felt like I got blindsided when he just started being a butthead, right? All right. So right there, right? If you don't stop, I'm leaving. What? You gonna leave all that sewage water and everything else just flooding the bathroom as you're joking on and laughing, saying that we were gonna sleep in sewage, as you took your time to figure out what the hell was going on, because you didn't show up with the big equipment, with the scope, and with the big snake until after 6 p.m.? Where were you at 8:30 in the morning? Where were you at 10:30 in the morning? Where were you on the 12th when the phone call came in? And why did it take 6 men when really all it needed was 2? And technically, if you're a real plumber and you know what the hell you're doing, like Alex, it only takes 1 with the right equipment. It's like we were waiting for the equipment. We didn't need the guys. We had a lot of guys, but we needed the equipment. And that didn't become available until after 6. Okay. Thank you for making me think of that, as if. Okay, so the next video is in the basement, but this one, this video is corrupt. It didn't convert over properly, but I think we should listen to it. So sometimes it freezes, and sometimes I can get it to work. I was hoping it would convert over properly, but it didn't. So we're going to try and do it this way.
All right, so now we're gonna wait for the next fucking flood here. You can see.
So that's after he runs me out of there. He literally got rude and ran me out of there. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So I leave. Now I'm in the garage. And you know, when it rains, what I think about that, I'm always worried about it being flooded. Because that back drain that goes to the alley was supposed to be snaked out this year. And that tree that's up by the alley should have been cut down, but you need a license for it. So never got cut down, never no license, and the drain itself never got snaked out. So, you know, right? So I get panic attacks, doesn't matter, as soon as I hear the rain, that's it. And of course it's been raining, so, you know, the garage is fairly wet because it leaks too. But it's a different kind of leak, and it's in a garage. It's when the rains come and it starts to flood. That's the problem. But besides that point...
Getting ready. As soon as it all starts to rain, gets real freaking heavy, all the water will come washing in. I got kicked out of my fucking basement, man. By one Punjabi man that came in with a bad freaking attitude talking about, I don't want my back on YouTube. Why?
Yeah, I don't want my back on YouTube.
It's just your back. Like, you guys have been working all damn day, right? It's a freaking dirty job. Like, it's gross. And...
Well, first of all, that dude, he didn't show up until... He was the last one, basically, to show up. And it was late. It was late. 6:30, something around that time. 6:30, yeah, 7, I don't know. It was after 6 anyway, because my son got back at around 7.
7:30ish.
Yeah, and they already told my son, before my son left, who left at 5:30, right, that they were going to all leave at 7:30, no matter what. No matter what was going on, they were leaving at 7:30.
Like they said, an extra hour.
Well, yeah, they stayed an extra hour only because they had to call the city. And I did. I asked one of the guys, right, you know, does this, like, is this like usual, or is this normal, or not normal, but, you know, does this happen quite a bit, or is this a unique situation? You know, he goes, no, it happens actually fairly a lot. Oh, wow, isn't that interesting?
we've had no water since yesterday. Blah, 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 blah. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where were they yesterday on that, before this all happened? When the phone call came in, it was an emergency. It's sewage water. It keeps coming up. It won't stop. Well, just turn off the water at the main valve. They did that. But my son said he went to sleep, right? It was leaking a little bit, whatever. He was hoping it would stop. After we turned off the water valve, he went to sleep. He got up 3 hours later, and the fucking, boo-boo hall was flooded. The bathroom was flooded, right? And it wouldn't stop. If they would have came when my son first called, maybe it would have been a little different. If they would have came in the morning with the proper equipment in the morning, they could have went outside and talked to those workers. Because as soon as I went downstairs at 11:30, quarter to 12 or whatever it was, once I knew that they were kind of down, somebody was down there, I went down there. And I said, okay, what's up, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think this is coming from what the city is doing. Oh, no. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. You know, they've been digging up hard out there, blah, blah, blah. If they would have came in with the proper snake and the proper scope and done it right away, ASAP, they could have been outside by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, talking to those workers and having the city show up versus dragging it out with that water leaking, with my son sitting there plugging in a pump, unplugging it, plugging it in, and waiting for the the big rains to come, so it bathtub's all bubbling up and it's spilling out all over the ground. You're like, because he's laughing, you're going to sleep in sewage. Oh, yeah? Okay. I guess it says a lot about how you see us as renters, as renters.
Fuck's sakes. I gotta take the kids out of the house now because...
Yeah, I might have to. I have to talk to Tisha about that. Because I don't know how long this is going to take to get fixed.
I don't think we're gonna get the water back anytime soon. Like, this is bullshit. Right? So I'm like trying to have a good...
And everybody wants to get mad. Well, they want to get mad at me. Yeah, okay.
morale about it. You know, I'm trying to seriously have a good morale about it. You know, like
I did. I felt sorry for that guy that was mopping that crap up for 10 hours. But I guess when you're looking for a paycheck, you know, stalling the job, right? Making it last longer than it should, you know, in terms of they didn't come when they should have came on the 12th. They came on the 13th. They came late. And then they dragged it out. And then they came in with the big equipment after work. And then they got attitude. Yeah. And then the one, and, you know, whoever sided with him, his silent supporters got attitude. Yeah. So why? What are you hiding? A partnership, maybe? You know, was I bamboozled? Was my house targeted? Kind of feels that way.
the good old days. Is this thing recording or what, Andre? Come here and tell me, because I can't even see.
You know, they fucked up with that mainline pipe. They're the ones that broke it up. They're the ones that dug up the outside everything, 4 years of work that I did. They're the ones that got the city of Surrey whip on my back because everything I put together to cover up sand, rocks, all this other stupid shit. They're the ones that went out there with their backhoe after they broke the mainline pipe as plumbers doing whatever the hell they were doing down there the first time around, right? You know, and then I had to go outside and redo everything. It took me a long time, and of course it was used against me as if it was my fault, which it was not. Again, being mistreated, right? So, you know, when they reminded me that they were the same guys that did the plumbing the last time with the mainline pipe, I tried to just brush it off, you know, forget about it, you know, okay, I remember, but, you know, it's the good old days. It's in the past, you know, let it go, right? You know, don't harbor a grudge, Judy, right? And so I was trying to be, you know, pleasant and look for the good in them, right, as a group, draw on their strengths. And I complimented them on their strengths. But they're more interested in oppressing and controlling you and silencing you, threatening you, and scaring you. Otherwise, this video would have ended up different. Because I wasn't planning on hanging around. I just was waiting for this, that I did my little clip. The city was coming. I was going to hang around for a little bit, just catch the gist of it and leave, right? Because my son was home already by that time, so there was no need for me to be downstairs anymore other than just to follow up with what was going on in regards to the seriousness of this situation. And they didn't want me to record that, which they had no right, okay? It's not illegal to record. It's not. I'm not doing it to spy on anybody. If I was trying to spy on somebody, then that would be different. Right? So they used Mrs. Gill so that she can build ammunition against me as if I'm a bad tenant, because I'm thinking about her better interest with a group of men who are clearly dragging out the job for every hour that they can get in, I suppose, in terms of a paycheck. With the numbers of men that were going in and out, does everybody get paid? Or were some of those people just friends of friends? How many people out of 6 people got paid for what they did? Right? And if they're not the plumbers, why are they coming in and out, trampling with their feet in the mud, or in the bathroom, on the sewage, whatever, and then on the whatever, in and out, 6 at a time, in and out, 2, 3 walking down, 2 more coming, another one coming, another one going, 4 coming at one time. That's a lot of freaking traffic. And for what? when you think about it. Did they all get a paycheck? Or were they apprentices and learning how to do it so that they can save money and not hire a real freaking plumber? Or if you do hire a real plumber, just make sure it's after hours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how I'm starting to think about it, being that they dragged it out so long, and then that guy put his little dig in there saying, well, you're going to sleep in sewage. Oh, okay. What, is Mrs. Gill going to toss my ass out on the street? Is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? Right? Right? I wanted to record this so that if it's the city's fault, the city has to help her pay whoever she's paying for the work that they did because of the city. So if anything, it's evidence for her, unless, of course, there's a backroom deal going on here. You know? Just flush the tenant out with sewage. If you can't get her to leave by screwing around with her in the yard and mistreating her over a yard that doesn't even belong to her, so that she gets tired of being mistreated and used and abused, hell, we'll just flood the house with sewage. And if we're not doing it in the bathroom as it spreads out all over the place because we're taking too long to do our job, think about it, people. We'll just put a little hose over the window and let it just spew all over in the back. Right outside the freaking window. Okay. And to shut the bitch up, we just have to stick a Punjabi on her. The one with the biggest and loudest mouth. The most aggressive. Because he was the most aggressive. And it was unwarranted. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Absolutely nothing.
I don't think so. I don't think that's recording. Is that recording? Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's going to kick out here in a minute.
Like,
and then I don't know how I'm going to get through this.
And like
clearly you can see I'm flustered, right?
This is right, and the water's been turned off since yesterday, right? We got a little bit of water in a pot here.
When you call your landlord and it's an emergency and it relates to freaking sewage and it won't stop, come on, people. And the phone call came in the later part of the afternoon. Yeah.
A little bit of water in a pot over there, right? The pipe has been...
Like, why was he so concerned about my YouTube channel? Seriously, I'm severely shadow banned on YouTube. So, like, I wouldn't sweat it, that's for sure.
Spewing up freaking sewage water, and if it's not that, they're saying it's water coming in from another drainage pipe, so that's what's pushing everything up. And now it's like the city side because of all the building in the front, right? So I'm trying to have
So I guess the sewage pipe somehow got suddenly blocked. They say they unblocked it, but when I was down there when they came with the big machine, because I was watching them, right? There's different guys, you know, like, I don't know if it was... Like, one guy came with a small little dinky snake machine, and then that didn't work. So they had to wait for the guy with the big snake machine with the scope. And when he was running the big snake machine, I was watching him. And I was like, oh, okay, so you listen. That's how you listen. That's how you know when you're coming into a hot spot in terms of being clogged or whatever. And he can probably tell if it's grinding through a root, or if it's grinding through gravel, or if it's grinding through mud, or straight up freaking rocks. Right? You know, just with experience, with the different sounds and the vibrations, because they hold the snake as it's being run through. And these big machines run them fast, eh? Because they're high-powered motors, right? So, you know, right? And I admired him for his ability to just do what he was doing. And I told him that because I sure in the hell couldn't do it. Right? The question is, what took him so long to get there?
a good morale, get a full understanding about what the hell's going on here, and because they can't fix.
And then they were saying that the water was coming from the drainage pipes outside, like the runoff pipes. So what? You got sewage water mixing in with drainage water? Sounds kind of strange to me, don't you think? And the only thing that's holding it at bay is my son right now at this time at 2:32 a.m. in the morning, sitting there watching a pump. Yeah. And unplugging it and plugging it in every 10-15 minutes. And he's the tenant. And we have to wait for them to come back. As they're blaming me for doing a little 3-minute video as if I was the criminal of the century. Yeah, okay. See? It stopped. Yeah, it stopped right there. There is a glitch in here. Let's see if we can get past it.
Right, so I'm trying to have a good morale, get a full understanding about what the hell's going on here, and because they can't fix it. Okay, and I don't know how long it's gonna take to get fixed. Right? Okay, so and then they come more, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5. Right? And my son's not downstairs, so I'm kind of just hanging around, right? Can't leave Andre down there for very long, right? You right? Kind of have a bunch of strangers in and out, in and out, in and out. So it's kind of like I had to be there. So, I'm trying to be friendly about it and crack a few jokes and, give them compliments for working in such a dirty job, and how Tisha's married to a plumber and he's a really hard worker, and he right, and I can see these guys are hard workers, and they're putting up with a lot of crap because they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And there's one other dude shows up at the very tail end of it all, takes over the whole group, becomes the alpha dog, and starts barking at me because he doesn't want his freaking checkered freaking jacket recorded in regards to what's going on in my life.
Okay, it's gonna
This
click
is
out.
my
It's gonna
life.
freeze. See? Why? Why is it freezing? And it's funny, when I went to come and upload, my computer wouldn't turn on. No. No, it said it was in sleep mode. And anyway, I ended up getting it back on. But yeah, no, this is not right. This is not right.
All right, so now we're gonna wait for the
Okay,
next
so what
fucking
we're gonna
flood here.
do?
You can see getting down there for very long, right? You right? Kind of have a bunch of strangers in and out, in and out, in and out.
Let's see if it locks
so
up
it's
again.
kind of like I had to be there. So I'm trying to be friendly about it and crack a few jokes and give them compliments for working in such a dirty job, and how Tisha's married to a plumber and he's a really hard worker, and he right, and I can see these guys are hard workers, and they're putting up with a lot of crap because they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And there's one other dude shows up at the very tail end of.
Let's see if we can just skip a little forward so we can bypass that glitch. I don't think 6 men were being employed by my landlord to do the job of 2. Okay? Would you want 6 strange men waltzing in and out of your place with nobody home except them? Is that reasonable? No, it's not.
Checkered freaking jacket recorded in regards to what's going on in my life. This is my life.
Oh God, please don't freeze. Oh my Lord. 304. Jeez. This is why it didn't convert over. Sometimes
All right,
it does
so now
that.
we're gonna wait for the next fucking flood here. You can see,
Okay.
getting ready. Going on in my life. It's my life.
Stop. And then it just kicks out. Oh my Lord.
All right, so now we're gonna wait for the next fucking flood here. You can see, getting ready. As soon as it all starts, checkered freaking. As soon as she calls me, and I'm like, holy crap, Mrs. Gill, I've been complimenting them. That's all
Okay.
I've been. As soon as she calls me, and
Let's
I'm
see if
like,
we can
oh,
go back a little bit.
get her out of here. As soon as she calls me, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, he told my son to get me out of there. And my son just, and then I guess he was like, "That's okay. I'll take care of the bitch." And my son just walked away because he knew that dude was gonna do something. And what did he do? He called Mrs. Gill. Yeah. You show up late, okay? You got the phone call yesterday, but you don't show up until 24 hours later. The big boss that you are. Right? Just to threaten people that if they don't stop talking, you're going to leave for whatever reason, and then say, well, you're just going to end up sleeping in sewage anyway. Ha ha ha. Joke's on you. Ha ha ha. Because it's not stopping. Not that he did anything all day, because he wasn't around, because he didn't show up till late. So what made him the boss? I don't know.
Mrs. Gill, I've been complimenting them. That's all I've been doing is trying to boost their freaking morale, right? Boost their morale. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got good.
You know, forgive and forget. Don't hold a grudge. Right? Keep an open mind. Can you hold on a minute? Okay, so let's just listen to the part that froze. And you'll just have to figure it out for yourself after the fact in terms of relation to the other part of the video that's already uploaded.
Good vibes. They're trying to what is that called? Multi-problem. Like, you know, they're trying to, between the different minds, they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on here, right? Because...
Or at least it appeared that way. Right? It appeared that way.
Nobody really knows except this shit keeps coming up. They're running the sump pump.
Yeah, because they were waiting for the machines. That's why.
Like the pump, they're running this little fucking pump just as the water is rising through the hole where the toilet sits on, right? And they have to stand there and stare at it. And as soon as the water gets to, you know, a certain point, they have to turn on the pump to make the water go back down. Otherwise, it's going to start flooding everything again, right? And I'm watching. You know, my son's not there, Marina's not there, so I'm like, okay, so, you know, like, you got some, you're paying attention, and, you know, and, right, and you're doing a good job, and, you know, and they're telling us they're leaving at 7:30, and I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean that Marina has to stand there for 4 hours and turn on the pump every 10-15 minutes, and then she gets to go to sleep, and Marquaine's got to stand there for 4 hours and turn on the pump every 10-15 minutes, and then what? I get to go downstairs and turn on the pump every 10 and 15 minutes? That's like 12 hours, right? 8 and 4, 8 and 12 is 12 hours. So what time is it now? So it's 8:30 now. Oh my God, what time is it? 7 o'clock. 7, 9, 8. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock on this, and it's 1 hour ahead. So, okay, so it's 7, 8, 9. So it's 8 o'clock now. Okay? 8 o'clock. In 12 hours, it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning. At the rate this is going, do you honestly think this thing is going to be fixed at 8 o'clock in the freaking morning? No. And I don't have a right to know what the fuck is going on? Because some alpha dog showed up on the block and took over the show and what? What? Well, yeah, what if I put you on YouTube? That's fine with me. Bring it on. Right? There's lots of community issues that we can talk about. I'd like to seriously have a serious conversation with some of the shit that goes on in British Columbia, Canada.
Yeah, if you talk, I'm leaving. If you don't stop talking, I'm leaving. Ha 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 ha, you're gonna be sleeping in sewage tonight. I said, excuse me? What did you say?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Right? You want to get down and fucking dirty? Well, let's get down and fucking dirty. I'm not afraid to do a video response. But, you don't know. He's a coward. He's a coward. Right? They're going to go home and what? Come back tomorrow? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Are you going to come fix my door? I've known these guys for fucking 14 years, for crying out loud. Maybe not this one, but some of these other ones. Oh yeah, I was here in 2014, 2015. Remember me? Yeah. It's like a party. It's like the good old days. Like Uncle John would say. You know, the only thing we're lacking is the beer. Should have brought the damn beer. There was enough of you around. Right?
It was just a joke, people. Just to smooth over the seriousness of the situation in terms of panic. Okay? But you see, they weren't in panic. Because one, they dragged it out. Clearly they didn't care. Right? They acted kind of dumb around it, really, when you think about it. Until the machine came, and then they got a little more serious with it, because sooner or later they had to do something. So yeah, they ended up calling in the city, and then who knows what's going to happen with that. Right? But really, did each and every one of those people get paid for going in and out, in and out, in and out? And if not, why were they at my house then? What was the point? And if you were not home, would you want 6 strangers running in and out of your house with nobody standing guard in terms of another family member? But don't forget, the lease is in my name. Okay? Not my son. He's a dependent, no matter what. Just like I get child support for him after all these years, that nothing's changed there. Okay? Right? You can't just blow me off because you don't like my YouTube channel. Like, come on.
I'm just saying, you know, clearly you're in overtime, right? You know, right? And when somebody finally shows you some appreciation, serious appreciation, because I can see the you know, determination.
Because I was looking for the good in them people, that's why. I was looking for the good. Right? Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't hold a grudge. Forgive and forget. And I was looking for the good. And what did I get?
The determination to problem solve this issue. Right? They get to go home with their plumbing working, but not me. I'm in the middle of my own shit right now. I got somebody coming over here and I'm paying him to help me start doing what Rhea should have done. And if Rhea would have done it, I wouldn't be doing it now. So, you know, my life is getting interrupted. I can't do dishes. Right? Can't even wash. It's stupid. And I get, okay, whatever. Whatever. Marcane talked about, well, I'm leaving. It's going to get all moldy down here. Blah, 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 blah. You need to figure it out and go find a place for yourself. I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem, but whatever. I can't just pack up and move. What, they gonna lay claim to the fucking basement when my son moves out? Is that it? Run me out now so that when he moves out, you forget it. Forget it. Fucking run me out too then. Out of the whole fucking house.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what's happening here. Just by the way they dragged it out and then used one man to basically attack me verbally. Yeah. And to demoralize and criminalize with my landlord. So, being that they work for my landlord on a regular basis for 14, 15 years, give or take one or two guys here or there that are replaced or just come in fresh or whatever. But the main crew, you know, I mean, think about it. If my landlord don't want me here, why would they want me here? If they're working together as a team, right? And if they can't wipe out the yard and do what they did with that and get rid of me that way, even though they still use the yard against me, knowing that I'm completely blind for the most part, why wouldn't they try another tactic? If they could. If the opportunity came about, considering how it ended up happening, and considering what happened. That's like that water tank. Maybe that's the dude that came with the water tank and it was broken and he was going to change a part. And I said, no, I want a brand new water tank that works. Mrs. Gill is paying good money for a water tank and it should be brand new without having its parts replaced before you even turn it on, right? And the last thing I wanted was a water tank that was used, but I'm being told it was new, right? Where it would only produce semi-hot water until finally the tank itself blew, like when I first moved in. When I first moved in, the water tank wouldn't get hot. It'd get semi-hot, but it wouldn't get hot because it was defective, it was old. And instead of changing it, they just let it expire. And then when it expired, Mr. Gill came with a big one, and then eventually that one expired, and then they tried to bring in another one that was broken, and I said, no, blah, 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 blah. I said, take it back. No, we can't. I said, well, let me try. The guy gave me where he bought it from. I phoned them, which was Home Depot, and he was surprised that they were willing to take it back and exchange it for a new one. So maybe that was the dude that went through that, got pissed off at me because I actually got a new one in replace of the one that was broken, because he didn't think I'd be able to do it, but they were kind enough, Home Depot, to do it, which that water tank actually came from a construction site with multiple suites. So how it ended up on my property, I don't know. All I know, it was broken, and I didn't want it because I didn't want to have to take warm baths for years and years and years because it was broken. Because that's the way it was when I first moved in. For the first 3-4 years when I was working in the yard, I'd come inside, want a hot bath. It didn't matter what time of day it was, I could never get a hot bath because there was something wrong with the water tank before I even moved in. All right? Plus, I thought if my landlady was paying for a new water tank, then she deserved to have a new water tank. But then she got mad at me for exchanging the tank on her behalf to protect her investment. Just like she got mad at me for, I suppose, documenting what it looked like when it come to this shit coming up through this hole that she told me wasn't serious, even though she herself had never seen it. And now I'm feeling insecure when my son should have just stayed home and dealt with them all and left me out of it, being that I don't have a right to say anything in this stupid house, but yet I'm expected to go outside and pull fucking Morning Glory and all this other stupid crap, right? Yeah, okay. Because ain't nobody else doing it, or pay somebody to do it. Because ain't nobody else doing it when I was told in January that I had absolutely no right to even put my freaking foot in the yard because they were taking everything away from me. Yeah, and I'm still paying for it, and I don't get a receipt. And I'm finding out now whatever receipt I get will be handwritten in terms of what they want to say, but not the original. Why? That doesn't sound fair. And now this? Okay.
A damn dirty dog about it. It's one thing being an alpha dog, but it's another thing being a fucking dirty dog. I went down there, I went back down. I said, oh, yeah, well, you know, thanks a lot, snitch. You little snitch. You can call Mrs. Gill. Ran me out of the, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. Like, you're not that important. Especially when the only thing that people can see is your damn back with a checkered jacket on. A checkered jacket that I have. You know those workman checkered jackets, they're nice and warm? They're made specifically to go outside and work like a damn farmer or whatever, or whatever, or whatever, or whatever, a framer or whatever, or a plumber or whatever. I have the same kind of fucking freaking jacket. So show some respect, man. Right? I'm trying to show you fucking respect. Maybe you didn't see it like that. It took a lot for me to fucking say, okay, look, just see what's going on here, and show admiration. Yeah, I gave them admiration, and what did they do? Well, one, really. The other ones, they were all copacetic with it. This one, I don't know. Whatever. Fighting over a fucking toilet hole. Sorry, boo-boo toilet hole. Like, how petty can you get? Like, seriously, you get to go home and sit on your toilet and flush it, but we don't. Hell, we can't even turn on the freaking tap for a glass of damn water. Mrs. Gill, oh, you're mad at me. I said, no, I'm not mad at you. I was trying to smooth things over so that the severity of it, because it's pretty, I said, you know, it's pretty bad. Oh, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. Right? Until you go through it. Right? You know, I'm trying to smooth it over and take it in stride. That's what it is, people. I try to take it in stride, be strong, but they don't like strong women, right? Maybe that's what it is. Unless, of course, you got money. If you got money, then you deserve respect. But if you don't got money, then they'd mistreat you. And maybe whatever I was thinking earlier on today, maybe that was just one big fat lie. I'd like to think not, though, okay? You know? I like to give credit where credit is due. And whenever I can give it, you know? And, like, yeah, this nasty, dirty job that they're working on downstairs, of course, it's not Mrs. Gill's fault. It's not their fault downstairs. It's certainly not our fault.
It is their fault, though, for showing up 24 hours late. Well, not quite 18 hours late. Something like that. A day and a half late. Right? Call came in around 4. Emergency. They showed up. That was 4 p.m. on the 12th. They showed up between 11:30 on the 13th. And then they didn't bring the big machines, right, until after 6:30. So basically it was 6-7 hours of just some pumping sewage water out into my backyard right next to the bathroom window.
And I have a right to record it, and that's what I told them. It's my house, I pay the rent, you know, right? But no, they had to show who was top dog, didn't they? Well, that one for sure. Yeah, okay, well, there you go.
All right.